Hello and welcome to another episode of the Citizens of Lorcana podcast, a podcast where we invite you to be part of their world. Today we are here to discuss Set Championships and organized play with the one and only Nive. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to another week. I'm your host, Jared Hymas, and today I'm joined in the studio by co-host extraordinaire James Riley. Last week, we had a chance to visit with Eric of The Gamer, where we talked about Set 3, the Set Championships, everything under the sun, Lorcana. If you hadn't had a chance to listen to it, make sure to go back and listen to it. And today, we are joined by Nive, the numbers nerd, to talk all about the upcoming Set Championship and some organized play stuff along the way. So, with that being said, Nive, welcome. Why don't you take a minute to tell everyone what you're all about?
Yeah, howdy, y'all. My name is Nive. You can find me as Nive the Nerd on the site formerly known as Twitter, and you can find me on Nive's Nerd Corner on the site currently known as YouTube. And I'm a big old nerd. I love Lorcana, love TCGs. I have a degree in mathematics. Well, not mathematics, but as math. And so I do a lot of limited content, do a lot of mathematical analysis of the game of Lorcana. I occasionally sing a song or two on my channel, so I'm a jack of very, very many trades.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, talking about songs, I don't think this one got a lot of attention, but you did a song to what's her face? Agatha.
Mm-hmm.
It was Agatha all along, but you did it to Ursula. And that was awesome. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to that, go check it out because it gave me a chuckle, especially the flounder shout out at the end. But tell me, why is it so much? Why do I want to say knives instead of knife? Tell me why.
I don't know. I'm not a psychology person. Probably because you watched Scott Pilgrim growing up.
Could be
Scott Pilgrim versus the world versus the universe.
Okay,
versus the world.
I know what you're talking about. I was not aware of this movie when I was a kid growing up. However, my wife and I joined a gym about a year ago, and they play movies. And we were in the movie theater, and that movie was on. It was a very, it's a unique movie.
Mm-hmm. The show's good. The show's really good too. The new show, it kind of puts a twist on the whole story. It's really cool. But yeah, so there's a character on that called Knives, and so that's kind of where a lot of people get it. There's also a like niche anime that has a character named Knives, and so that's why a lot of people call me Knives. Also, a lot of places like just drop the like possessive apostrophe on my name, so it does look like it's Knives.
I got it. Yes, because it's Knives Nerd Corner.
Mm-hmm.
There
as in it belongs to Nive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or plural knives.
What are you gonna do, right?
There's many of me inside this noggin.
All right. So before we get into the meat of this episode, we like to start our podcast with a segment called Deck Tech and Specs. So I know you're Mr. Limited, but we got, Set Championships coming up. If you were going to locals this week, what are you taking?
So I'm actually in the in-between of decks. Right now, I'm doing a lot of play testing to determine what deck or decks I should bring to Set Championships. But I do have my Sapphire Steel wheel deck still sleeved up, so I would probably bring that. It's designed specifically for my local meta, which has a lot of Ruby Amethyst and a lot of Ruby Sapphire. And so it's very well tuned to that. But we also have a couple aggro players. So I do have Giant Tinks and Grab Your Swords full play sets of in there. So it's very well designed for my local meta.
That's James and Eric's favorite deck right there. But they, James, you talk about this. You're the pro on this deck.
I don't know. Nive might be the pro. It's a good deck. I mean, like you say, you tuned it for the local meta, which is basically what everyone should be doing. They shouldn't be just copying a deck from online and then just taking it and hoping that it's going to work because it did really well at a tournament. You should be playing at your local store or stores that you're going to be doing the Set Championship at and finding out what the locals are playing. And from there, you can kind kind of tune your deck to what it is. So in Blue Steel, like you said, you playing a lot of stuff for aggro. I mean, if no one's running aggro where you play, then you may not need as much of that, and you may need more location or item removal if everyone else is playing Sapphire just like you. So
and like my local meta is very light on locations, so I play binges instead of Rise of the Titans.
right.
Just a bunch of just little things. I have the advantage of having a very small local meta, so I'm able to kind of build with only like 6 decks in mind because there's only 6 of us.
Yeah, that's something we're going to talk about later for sure, because that is very opposite of the experience James and I have.
Yeah. So as Jared mentioned, we have set championships staring us in the face, as we're recording this, they are 9 days away. So they are a week away when this drops. Yeah, it's crazy. So first of all, you said you have a small locals. Are you doing a set championship there? And what have you been doing to get ready?
Yeah, so I actually have a video about preparing for the set championships coming up soon. It'll be out by the time this is out. So self plug there. Check out that video. But I'll basically tell everything that I'm going to do here. I am registered for 3 set championships.
Nice.
However, with the area that I'm in, it is likely that a couple of them will not fire because Ravensburger has made it required that there be at least 8 players, and there is a non-zero chance that could occur. But I am signed up for 3 set championships. If one of them is to fail or end early, I can quickly drive an hour away to another one that Saturday. But yeah, basically what I'm doing to prepare is play testing decks, seeing what decks speak to me that week, and just do my typical competitive preparation.
Sounds about right? That's what you really got to do.
Yeah, sadly, I just have a bunch of live stuff coming up, so I will not be participating in any set championships this year or this set. So kind of bummed about that. I really wanted one of those stitches. So if one of those local game stores that you're talking about doesn't fire off and you need to offload an enchanted stitch, I'm just saying, there's a guy in Las Vegas I know who'd be happy to get one.
They accidentally put the return label to Ravensburger, and it has a wrong label.
That's right. That's right.
No, it's okay. Ursula's return special enchanted promo card is Flounder, so don't worry about it.
Heck yeah. We talk about doing the Citizens of Lorcanicon. I know, it's just a joke, but if we ever did, I would totally do like Flounder promo cards with like our logo on it or something.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, what are you doing to get ready for your set championships?
Yeah, so I have a personal playtesting method. Just kind of a little house secret thing. It works for me. It most likely would not work for pretty much anyone else because it's that personal. But essentially, I'm just playtesting every meta deck a lot. And basically, whatever gets the best record, since I'm playing against myself, the deck that wins more likely attunes to my playstyle at that time, reasonably. And so that's kind of how that works. Essentially, I'm playing against myself over and over and over and over again.
So you're goldfishing.
Yeah, goldfishing. Except the goldfish is also Nive. It's something that I've done ever since I've started playing DCGs, and so it just kind of works for me.
So
yeah.
So let's pause there for a second, and so we did this like a year ago where we talked about TCG terms. So goldfishing is where you would take your deck and you would just like actually go through the motions of playing cards, drawing cards, and doing all of that as if you were in a game, but there's no opponent. But you have taken that a step further and you actually play both sides of it. So you're playing two decks against each other and doing every move so you can see how they battle into each other.
Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing. I grew up playing a lot of board games by myself, so I've kind of developed an ability to kind of divide my brain to that kind of mindset of, okay, I'm player A, now I'm player B. And so that kind of skill set or developed habit really helps with playtesting.
So here's the thing: when I was a kid, I did the same thing with the Star Wars Decipher game. Once my brother was graduated and gone, because I didn't know anything about local game stores. So basically, I just had myself to play against. But then when I did find out about local game stores, I was like, okay, I've just like you, I put all this practice in, and then I went and just got absolutely destroyed. So, how do you control for yeah, you said you can compartmentalize. This half of the brain is here, this half of the brain is over there. But how do you do a objective gold fishing where it's actually beneficial to you and not just a bias of you being like, okay, well, I want this deck to win, so subconsciously maybe I'm favoring this deck. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get that. I get what you're saying. And in the method that I usually do, usually my subconscious helps me get to the deck that I want to play with. I guess the answer for that question is basically just like I know how this game works, and probably not as good as the top players, but I'm able to kind of minimize that not objectives, that subjectiveness. Um, I don't know. It's just a method that's always worked for me. And so that's kind of what I do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You always have a playtest partner.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so we're talking about set championships. What do you expect the environment to be like? I mean, I know for James and I, James super competitive. He goes to all these, local tournaments and stuff like that. But I think this is the first time that it's going to be it's not like, your weekly Lorcana event. This is the first time where people are going to be really competitive. So what's that going to be like?
Yeah, so the way that I've kind of put these set championships, it's kind of like the shallow end of the competitive Lorcana pool. This will be a great spot for new players to experience the competitive scene in a familiar setting, which is your local game store. There's going to the rules are going to be more strictly held up. There's going to be more competitive players. Since the stitches are expected to be worth actually a good amount of money, there's going to be people traveling. So you're going to have a lot of new people that are heavily competitive coming in. But I think for a lot of people who play in their home store, it's going to feel like this weird local competitive vibe, which is kind of like what I've named it, is just competitive local.
I like it. Okay, but for the record, I have to get your opinion. So I'm going to throw out an imaginary scenario there, okay? So let's say you're at a set championship next week. You only have a Ward Cogsworth in play, and pays for Let It Go, attempting to target your Cogsworth. Rules as written, the player announced and played the card must do as much as it can, and thus would have to choose one of their own characters. However, they ask to take the playback. What would you do, Nive?
Okay. So for those who somehow do not know, at the day of this recording, I accidentally burnt down Lorcana Twitter with this question. Personally, my answer, since I'm in a set championship, I'm in a competitive setting, I'm not going to let him go for it. I'm not going to let him take it back. In a casual setting, 100%. Go ahead. Hey, by the way, this has Ward. You can take that back if you want to. But we're in a competitive setting. We're playing for stitches. We are in the way that I understand set championships and the way that I've decided to translate it is this is your introduction to competitive. This is what happens in competitive. You mess up, this is what happens. That's kind of my personal spot on it. I understand some people find that unsportsmanlike. I understand that some people find that fair. We can all agree to disagree. We all agree that the rules are there for a reason. And if the rules are an issue or they create an issue, Ravensburger is more than welcome to change it to where rewinding is the right answer. But rules as written right now, can't take it back.
I think that's a pretty fair answer. I think the one pushback that I might give on that is they did just release comprehensive rules. Like what last feels like a lifetime ago, but it's probably just like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, this is like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was
So
2 weeks ago.
A lot of us are used to doing whatever. So I think if people aren't paying attention, because the three of us are sitting on Twitter, we're like Lorcana is our life. And so we're used to playing, we're used to seeing these changes. But if somebody shows up and they're not, the one of the three of us, that could really catch them off guard. But I mean, I'm totally on your side, but it kills me because I'm a huge empath. I I like to take it easy on people, so I'm a sucker for that.
Oh yeah, and I am too. And like I get it. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of the quote unquote angle shooting. It doesn't feel well when you misplay. And you know what? It's a learning experience. And
James, what about you?
yeah.
Sorry. Well, I think I would actually say that my answer may change from person to person. Honestly, depends on the type of. If I know that they're like a super competitive and that they would like never allow me to do it, then I won't allow them to do it. So, and luckily I've seen enough people around coming through. If I see new people, I'll judge based on how they're acting. It just depends. It really does. I mean, like at on Sunday, I went to a new store to go play because they're having a set championship and I needed to sign up for it. And I think in like one or two different games that the person I was playing, of course, and I've never played against any of these people before. And they're like, "Oh, wait, I didn't mean to do that. Can I take that back?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." And it was a fairly competitive local event because, like I said, everyone was there to sign up for the set championship. So everyone was testing decks and everyone wanted to win because they were giving a box to the winner. And so it was like definitely felt very competitive. And I still was like, yeah, whatever. So I would make the decision based on most often just how I feel at the time. And of course, I'm like Jared. I'm a softie too, so I'll probably make the call to let him take it back. But if they initially or at any point did some kind of rule thing, then I would get in my mind that the rule thing is important to them, and then I would stick to the rules.
Mm-hmm. Sounds fair to me.
So we've talked about, what you can do to prepare and all that kind of stuff. So I think we've basically moved on to that. But you did mention that you may not have a lot of people at yours. So I think, Jared, you might have had a question about like the size and things like that.
Yeah, so we're going on a little tangent here. So you had mentioned that you live somewhere that's maybe a little less populated than James and I. You don't have a dozen or so stores that you could go play at. So what's your Lorcana experience like? Because for reals, I mean, there's probably a local game store in my area that's having a Lorcana event just about every night. If I wanted to go and I had the time, like I could go. So tell us what your Lorcana experience is like living in somewhere a little more rural and what you're expecting of these. Well, you talked about your set championships already, but yeah, just touch on that experience.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not jealous that you guys can just like go to a store on a random night and just play Lorcana. So I live in a region known as Mid Missouri. It's also known as the middle of nowhere. We have a total of 4 stores in the area. So there's 4 local gaming stores within an hour radius of me. That is stores in general. 3 of the, or I have 5. Only 3 of them are official Lorcana stores. So they're the only ones that can have the casual events and the set championships. And even then at those stores, we only consistently have about 5 to 7 players that come in. The cons of that is that you don't really get that level of diversity playing, but at the same time, that's a pro. We've kind of developed our own little community here in mid-Missouri. We all know each other. We all know each other's play styles. We know each other's decks. We have inside jokes that someone makes the inside joke and the entire table laughs because we all understand the joke. We sometimes have a couple people come through because we are in between Kansas City and St. Louis. So we're kind of hoping that people from those big cities come in for our set championships so that they can fire. Yeah, it's definitely a different vibe than what one would expect at, say, a major city where, again, you could play Lorcana every night with, and maybe not play the same person in 3-4 weeks. We usually play. I usually play everyone in the store when I show up, and it's definitely a more small towny vibe.
Yeah, that's interesting because James probably feels the same, but if I'm speaking out of line, you just correct me, James. But when I go to my local game store and there's, 16 to 30 people there, depending on where I go and, what day of the week it is, it's like, wow, Lorcana's thriving. But somebody who lives in a small town like you, I could understand why some people are like, is this game, like, can I invest in this long term? It's just interesting to get that different perspective because it's a completely different Lorcana experience. So I guess what I want to ask is, how is integrating into the global, worldwide Lorcana community, does that help you in any way?
Oh, that helps me significantly. One of the stores that are in my area, actually two of them, they have their casual weekly Lorcana nights on nights where I have other responsibilities. So I'm usually in a store playing Lorcana maybe 2-3 times a month. That is how rare I get the opportunity to play paper Lorcana. And so Pixelborn, Tabletop Simulator, just talking about it online, like that is my main Lorcana experience. And it means a lot having not multiple communities, but multiple places to communicate and talk with each other. It really means a lot. If I didn't have the Discords, if I didn't have the Twitter, if I didn't have these wonderful third-party online platforms, I would not be playing Lorcana, and I would not be having a channel about it.
That is one of the good things about online now is, you can expand out when you don't have that much of a community near you. So as we mentioned, where the set championships are like the stepping stone, they're the stepping stone to organized play in the DLCs, the Disney Lorcana challenges. So let's talk about those. First off, are you planning on attending a DLC? And if so, which one or which ones?
Yes, I intend on going to at least one Disney Lorcana challenge. It depends on what the budgets, both money and time, can afford. But I do have money set aside and time set aside for at least one DLC. And the hope is to go to the one to Chicago. It's the closest one to my hometown. If I can't make it into Chicago for some reason, I will try for all the other ones. But yeah, I really want to go to one challenge. I want to see how I can do against some of the best of the best.
Be the best there ever was.
Or just the fastest typers.
Oh, yeah. I have a bot for that. It's all good.
Well, now that they have expanded the seats available, they're at 2048. Has Atlanta sold out? Have you heard?
As far as I'm aware, Atlanta is still going through their waitlist waves.
Yeah, I think they have one more wave tomorrow of waitlist, which I will brag for a moment. I did get in off the waitlist, and I am going to Atlanta.
Hey.
Yeah.
Go Team Citizens. Go Team Discarded.
I could be on two teams. I am on two teams.
Oh, man. No, I'm excited for you to go.
I can't wait. So, speaking of, you're the numbers guy. So, I know you've done the math. How many points do I need to get into day 2 at a Disney Lorcana challenge?
Okay, so it depends on how many rounds there are in day 1. So let's do a theoretical 7 round for day 1. Does that sound fair?
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll say that. Generally, you needed for other TCGs, you need about a 75% round win rate, but since we're doing 2-game Swiss, it's a little bit different. The general rule that I've kind of gotten to, there's not quite enough data to say yes, this is how this is the right goal to go for. But right now, I'll say the goal is to average 2 points a round. So if there's 7 rounds, you want to go 14 points.
Okay.
What that means is you definitely want to, what I'm calling sweep 2-0 at least half of your rounds.
This makes sense.
Yeah.
And so basically, every time you only split,
Mhm.
every time you do that, that's one more time you're going to have to 2-0. And every time you 0-2, that's danger zone because you don't want to be doing that at all.
It is okay to 0-2 a couple times.
Right. You need to 2-0 more at that point.
Yeah, so if you 0-2, I think 2 rounds, you'll have to 2-0 another round, like an extra
Like
round on top.
60% or 65% instead.
Exactly. Again, we haven't had that many major events with the new 2-game Swiss format yet to give definitive data, but we haven't even had any that have a day 1, day 2 yet. But so far, the pattern shows that if you average 2 points a round, you are either in the top cut or you're in that kind of tiebreaker bubble area.
Okay, so how long do you spend looking at the data?
Too much.
Like, are you just like pulling it up and you're like, that's interesting? Or are you spending like hours like you're getting ready for an NFL draft?
I wouldn't say NFL draft levels. Those guys do a lot of crunching numbers. I'd say most of the Math of Lorcana videos, the research portion usually is a day of like median work. So probably like if I wanted to, I could crank out the research in 3-4 hours if it was my sole focus.
I gotcha.
Not bad.
I mean, I'm not a numbers guy. I was pretty good at math, but I obviously did not get a degree in math. But I always enjoy reading your analysis and commentary on the website formerly known as Twitter. But one of the posts that really stands out in my mind was where you looked at, I can't remember what tournament it was, but it was a pretty big one, and they were playing best of 3. But then you took, the results, and you're like, if they were doing best of 2, 75% of the results would have been the same. Like, how did you do that analysis?
Yeah, so that was forgive me if I pronounced it wrong. Tia Guson's the PAC tournament, which occurred like a week before we learned about the 2-game Swiss. And basically what I did was I went round by round game, match by match. If the game went to 3 games, then that means they split. And if someone 2-0'd, well, they 2-0'd. And so basically I just translated it over to that and then did the points calculations that way.
And what you found was the results would have been pretty similar regardless.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people are like upset. They're like, well, this punishes the good players. Like it rewards tying or whatever. I don't know. Like a lot of people are upset about it. But at the end of the day, the results panned out. Like, and even in that most recent one, like Eric pointed out, DeCandio did have the best record going in, and he ended up winning it all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people are just making much ado about nothing there.
I mean, there's always resistance to new things. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a thing to look down on. It's just a thing that occurs. I mean, there's always fear of the new. There's fear of the unknown. And I think a lot of people will eventually get used to this system. It's going to take time, and there's some people that are just going to not like it in general, and that's okay.
So share with us your general thoughts on the 2-game format.
Yeah,
like it, love it, wait to see.
I like it. It is a very what's the right way to put it? It is very Lorcana. It is very much meant to be friendly. It is meant to be designed to where you can keep playing as long as you want. You can keep going. You even if you're not playing for Top Cut, you can still beat your personal record of points, which was kind of hard to figure out generally in a best of 3 system. You can look at your points and go, oh my gosh, I have actually clearly gotten better because I've won more games this way. I like the extra point that you get when you 2-0. I know that's a little bit kind of opposite of the zeitgeist, but
yeah, that's kind of the most controversial thing is that extra point, right?
Yeah. I like the extra point. I actually did a sub analysis with the extra point a couple days ago, and if we didn't have the extra point, there would be a lot of ties for Top Cut, and it would essentially be no different than best of 3, and it would actually, the concerns that people had about 2-game Swiss before they experienced it, which were like, oh, there's going to be too many people tied for Top Cut. There's going to be all the records are going to be squished up. That actually occurs much more when the extra point's gone. Because now instead of you get 3 points for every 2 win for sweeping, 1 point for split, 0 for getting swept, you are just getting a point for every win, which doesn't sound that bad, but that extra point does a lot of work for this system to work.
That makes sense to me. I mean, the thing that really drew me to it, and you kind of brought this out, I'm under no illusions that I will probably be making day 2. But the thing that I like about this new system is it incentivizes me to keep playing, because that last round, I could go 2-0. The last 3 rounds, I could go 2-0. And maybe I could make it to day 2, or maybe I could get myself where if they do have a promo that's based on the amount of points that you earn, maybe I could put myself in a position to get that. Whereas before, if you lose the first 2 or 3 rounds, you may as well just, check out, which I've done that. And when I was playing My Hero Academia, after I lost, 2 or 3 rounds, I would just peace out,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we did see a number of people drop out whenever Tia did the 2-game Swiss, but it was at a much lower rate than best of 3.
So mission accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Play the game. Play it out.
You never know.
You never know. Yep. I'm excited. I mean, I'm throwing back to my old, like I said, Star Wars Decipher Day, but I'm pretty sure that's how they did it. I'm pretty sure the cool thing about that was you had a light side deck and a dark side deck, but I'm pretty sure the rounds were you played 1 round with the light side deck and 1 round with the dark side deck. And so they had that 2-game format, and I don't remember the earth falling when I was following that game.
I don't think anyone's thinking that the earth is going to collapse or that Lorcana itself is going to burn to the ground because of this system. I think people are just, like I said, they're kind of concerned about the new.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. So we've talked a lot about numbers. We've talked a lot about set championships and the local scene, but we do need to talk about draft. We can't go the whole episode without asking you about draft. So why do you love draft so much?
Okay, that's a good question. Growing up, I wasn't able to put too much money into the game that I played growing up, which was Magic the Gathering. And unfortunately, I started playing the game whenever standard decks were $1,000. Um, so as a tween or as a teen, I could not afford to do that. So what I did instead was I did limited events, drafts and seals, because that was the way that I could play without being steamrolled by people who could afford the big meta decks. It was a great equalizer. And when you sit at a table, there's no pay to win. You get what you get. There's some people that will get lucky bombs. There are some people that get a trash pool. That's what you get. And with limited, it introduces an aspect to the game, whatever game it is, that no other format can really do, which I call improvisational deck building, where on the fly you have 50 minutes. Here are the cards, whether they're from packs or you pick them in a draft. You have 50 minutes to build a deck. It better have a good curve, better have a good resource balance, better play well, better have a way to win. 50 minutes. Good luck.
It's stressful.
It can be.
Yeah, because I haven't actually played draft yet. I've only done sealed events, and I actually really enjoy them. It's rough when you do get that set of packs that has some pretty bad cards.
Mhm.
But you chalk it up to luck of the draw, and you play another day.
Yeah.
So I haven't done sealed like James, not for Lorcon anyway. I've only done draft, and I think you were on the Overexerted podcast. I think you're talking to them about this.
Overexerted.
One of the things that I like that you said is that you can go probably the full pack and maybe half of the second pack before you have to commit to a strategy. Because a lot of times, like when I do draft, I'm like, oh, here's an evasive card. Maybe I'll go evasive. Or here's a body card. I know you want to grab evasives and bodyguards both. Like I know that enough now. But the thing that I appreciate about what you said is that you don't have to commit to something right away. However, there comes a time where you do have to commit to a strategy that you want to try to execute when you're playing your round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lorcana is probably the best TCG to develop your limited skills because of its very forgiving nature on resources with the Inkwell system, and it's very forgiving on its deck restriction system by not having you restricted by color. This was actually a big concern for me at the very beginning, because as a person who is big into limited, I felt it was very very simple, very like, oh, you just grab the best card in the pack and you pass it along and you just play good stuff and you win. And to an extent it's true. But I would say now that we've had 3 whole sets since probably that discussion, it's definitely closer to like your middle of the second pack to commit. And even then you can switch because of the way that Lorcana is built.
Yeah, and the thing that I love about draft or just limited events, sealed events in general, I do enjoy playing with all the different inks. Like it's pretty fun. you get to do these weird, wacky combos that you never get to do in constructed.
Oh yeah, it feels like a different game.
Yeah, it really does. And as you said, it kind of makes it more of an equalizer thing. I appreciate that when I sit down with the person next to me. I mean, obviously there are going to be people like you who study draft like you're getting ready to draft a football team, and you're probably just going to dominate like you did last time. But for the most part, most everybody's going to be on an equal playing field, and it comes down to developing a strategy that you think you can execute. And if you can execute it better than anybody else, it's going to be awesome. But you're all on a pretty equal playing field.
Mhm.
Okay, James, any other comments about draft before we move on, or questions?
As soon as I am actually going to do a draft, I'll be like, "Hey, Nive, I'm going to do a draft."
Fair. That's fair.
Which set /
Yeah,
sets?
right. I don't know.
You have how many stores around, and you haven't done a draft yet? That's
Right?
very surprising.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I think there's only like a few in the region that do regular drafts. Very few of them even do regular sealed. Almost all of them only do sealed for like a week or so at the beginning of a set, and then it's back to core constructed for the rest of the season, pretty much.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Can I just say, I would love to do different formats like Porcana. I know people find that term offensive, straight rat, whatever. I'd love to do different formats because my LGS always does core constructed, which I enjoy, but it'd be nice to switch it up once in a while.
Oh, yeah. I love double feature.
Yeah, that would be a blast.
You got to get to a place that does league, not semi-competitive core constructed, which you just have to. I mean, obviously, in my area here, where I have, as you mentioned, I can go to a different store every night, all week long. I can actually probably find 5 different stores within 30 or 40 miles for every night
more
of the week.
Salt. Put it in my wound.
So I mean, it's
Gosh.
definitely, and there's a few that do have like straight up league nights where it is not competitive at all. Like there's one store, I think it's about 25 minutes away, where they legit, like, it's when you show up, you play league, you pick your own opponent, you just play someone, you get into the raffle or whatever or you earn points or whatever it is. They have like, wear Disney garb, or you have to have 2 villains in play, or you have to have 3 Floodborns or whatever it is. They do all those things that they suggest, and they're straight up doing it like Lorcana style league without any competitiveness whatsoever. And of course, it's on a night that I really can't go. So it's that kind of thing. Like there's still limitations, but it's nice to know that there's those options you have. And I think that one of the things that we can say, if someone is having an issue at their local store, which one of the stores that I go to sometimes, which one of the other locations of Kingslayer, they had their Thursday nights was their core constructed every single week. And the players actually went to the owner and said, we would like a league that is casual. And they actually sat down and generated a league that happens on Sunday afternoons where it is completely casual. And they actually, like, everyone brings like something to raise money or supplies or funds or whatever for a local charity. And it changes every season. And it's this really cool thing that the players went to the store and set up. And that's the thing that I would say is that if you have a group of people who are like, if you have a store in a nice area that has like 20 people and it's always competitive, except for you guys don't want to be competitive all the time, go to the store and try and find an afternoon to set aside or an evening where they don't have a full night and see if you can set up a league. Because I don't know a store that would turn down more people showing up regularly to their store to buy things.
That's awesome. That is an awesome story.
Do that. Go and talk to the store.
My issue with my local game store that I've been running into lately, I go to the boba store. They've been selling out of spots like instantly. I don't see the sign up until a day or two later. Like I went to sign up yesterday and they're all sold out. So I'll be missing Lorcana this week again.
But hey, Lorcana is a dead game.
Right. Okay. Okay. Nive, we always like to ask fellow content creators if they have any advice for fellow or aspiring creators. What advice would you give? And it is okay to repeat answers that prior guests have given.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I would say find what you find joy in. People can sense the love and passion that you put into your work. At the same time, you need to find what you're uniquely good at. This is a community full of incredible people. We have artists, we have musicians, we have comedians, we have analysts, we have players, we have people
James.
that. Sorry,
We have James.
we have James. We have we have Jared who does memes. We have a lot of people that are incredibly unique and have their own voice, and they are great to be inspired by. You have your own voice. And we want to hear it. So share
Preach it. Preach it. I remember some of your first videos.
Oh, no.
And you had like, I can't remember what the background was, but you just had like a little floating circle with your head there talking. And I was like, oh boy. Like your content was good. But I will just say, you've come so far and I love it. And now you have marbles, which your wife created, and I think that's amazing. Like, I mean, we had Baker from Lorcana Villain on here, and he even like threw that out as an example of, you know, an advice he'd give to an aspiring creator: have a mascot. Marbles is awesome. So, I mean, I love so much about what you do. I just co-opted Flounder because I don't know, Flounder was hilarious, but that was an easy mascot. You picked the hard route, but it's something original that people associate with you. Marbles and pigeons.
Marbles and pigeons. Gosh. Oh, here's a little nice nerd corner trivia. What was the original name of my channel?
It was Nive's Nerdy Corner of the Internet or something like that.
Nope.
No? Okay.
It is on there, so if you look, you will find it. But it is.
I feel like I should know this since I watched the early stuff too. And it's just like, that was way too long ago.
That's true. It was the Imaginarium.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Furnaces?
I would never have guessed that.
I don't know why I came up with it.
Imaginarium, Illuminary. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. All right. Well, we have, and I slacked. I did not put out a call for a listener question, but we do have one listener question from Kai, Brave Little Taylor. And if you ever want to ask a question of our upcoming guest, hop into our Discord, throw a question. There's a channel called Podcast Questions, and we'll throw it on here. So the question for you, for all of us, we can take turns. If you had a chance to play Mickey Trumpeter in Lorcana, which character do you wish to play for free and why?
I know what I want.
Who would you want, James?
Goofy Knight.
Yes, that would be a pretty clear choice. I'd have to go with Flounder.
That's fair. Dragon Maleficent.
Okay.
Right? Another good choice.
That'd be a
Probably one of the better choices, actually.
I don't know. I mean, there's so many good cards. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
No, I got it. Mickey Trumpeter.
Oh, you're starting a chain.
Mm-hmm. So you'll have all 4 of them.
And then look out.
And then you can play 4 Goofy Knights.
And then you can play Dagger Swords.
I mean, Chernobog would be cool to pull out with that.
No.
But Turnbog doesn't need it if it's late enough in the game, right? There's already a bunch of characters in your.
That's true. By the time you play Mickey, yeah, that makes sense. Well, King Triton.
Yeah.
Nice big body there. Yeah.
I'm pulling here.
Big old Ursula.
Tamatoa.
Spirit of Winter.
Oh yeah.
That would actually be really good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a 10 swing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's amazing how far that card has fallen. You don't see them play it a whole lot anymore.
And yet they chanted is still over $1,000.
I know. It's crazy. I'm trying to make it come back with it. We tried to put it in our Amethyst decks, but it just no. Too many uninkables. You gotta watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about Elsa?
Yeah, the Elsa.
That's when you play Amethyst Sapphire and play Quill.
I saw a tweet where you want to rename Ramp to Quill.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if I can get behind that, Nive.
Make Lorcana things, Lorcana terms.
Doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
I mean, I guess we could call it Detective or Grandma.
We'll go with Grandma Duck. I don't know. I'll sit on it. If you come up with something that I really like, I will be on board with that.
I understand the migration of magic terms to Lorcana. I understand it. I don't like it. Because now you have to go, well, why is it called Ramp? Well, you see, in this other TCG, there is a card called Rampant Growth that adds an extra card, land card. Is that like location? No, it's like an ink that is only an ink that you can only do. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Okay.
You get extra ink.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a card called Rampant Growth in Magic the Gathering.
But
it's called Ramp.
I understand the concept of ramp, like you're ramping up faster.
Ramps are inclines that go up, right?
Yeah, but
that's what I forget.
the actual history of it is from
Right.
card Rampant Growth.
It's just unlike wheel or
There's also a magic card. That
right, or wheel, or was it mill?
Mill.
I mean, why do those mean what they mean, right? Because
Because
they're magic cards, and they don't really have the word doesn't really mean the same thing. But for ramp, you can take rampant, whatever it was, the magic card out of the equation, and ramp still makes sense.
That's true.
So I feel like ramp is one of the words where it's like, okay, that makes sense. So as to your suggestion of quill, the only reason why I feel it may not work is because you can't add ing onto it and have it sound cool.
Yeah,
Quilling.
I'm quilling.
I'm quilling.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
What's that Earlmeister thing? I'm Ultra Mega Tonic Inking. There we go.
Never
Somewhere.
There
you go.
All right.
Is there any news?
Segments? I don't think there's any news.
The only news is that the wait list is going on right now, as we mentioned, for Atlanta, and no other DLC tickets have been announced for when they're on sale or the number of tickets that will be made available.
Nothing about Chicago yet.
And Sneaky Buffalo has joined the Twitter fire.
What's that?
Sneaky Buffalo has joined the Twitter fire.
Okay, there you go. All right. Well, are you ready for Disney Jeopardy, Nive?
I am ready for Disney Jeopardy. I am the Disney Trivia Master of Mid-Missouri, which is not that impressive.
So here's the thing.
Cool.
Here's the thing. Before the show, you were telling us you want like 2 levels below the Jaunty, which was like it was
Impossible.
cool and unusual punishment. But you said you got 3 out of 5 right. So
I think I got 3 out of 5 right. It might have been 4 out of 5. I can't remember, but I know these answers.
did you get the ISBN number?
I did not get the ISBN number. I did know the Aurora one. I
Okay.
knew. I think I got everything with the ISBN.
So I don't know. Maybe these are tough. Maybe they're not. So let's start for 100. This is the name of Andy's neighbor in Toy Story.
That would be Sid.
For bonus points, do you know what his last name is?
No.
Sid Phillips.
Phillips.
There you go.
Okay. Sid Phillips.
We'll give that to you. Okay, for 200. This is the villain in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Judge Claude Frollo.
It's technically Monsignor. So
Oh, fair enough.
yes, we'll give that to you.
No, we won't. We'll take it. No.
That's right.
Championship rules.
That's right.
That's not sportsmanlike.
Okay, for 300. This is the name of Remy's hero in Ratatouille.
It's Chef Cousteau.
Ooh, impressive. Yes.
Nice.
Because I remember because French Jacques Cousteau, the undersea explorer.
August Gastel would also have been acceptable. Okay, for 400. I don't think I realized this. This is what Carl did before he retired in the movie Up.
Oh, he was. Oh, I know this. I'm going to be really upset. Was he a photographer?
You're thinking of Goofy, in a Goofy movie.
Hmm.
It is staring you right in the face.
An eyeglasses guy? I don't know.
James, that was a terrible hint.
I know. I always get bad hits. That's my thing.
What was it?
What is a balloon salesman?
Well, Doy. Brain. Okay.
That explains why he had so many balloons.
That
But,
explains why he has so many balloons. Yeah.
but James, what was with the hint? For those,
That's the biggest thing about Up is one of the biggest things is his house that flies away on balloons. So
I think of Doug.
I know. Squirrel.
My name is Doug. Okay, I will be very impressed if you get this one. Okay, for 500, this is what Wall-E stands for in the movie Wall-E.
I know I used to know this. Wow. I don't have it. I don't have it on me.
Okay, what is Waste Allocation Load Lifter Earth class?
That's, yeah. I know the
Quality.
loser class. Because it's on Earth.
That was impressive, though. You did good, because those were not... I mean, Sid, that was pretty easy. Frollo,
Yeah.
the last three, those were tough. You did good.
Yeah. I need to up my game.
And it's different when you're the one sitting in the chair.
It is different.
Okay, so, Nive, it's been awesome having you on today,
Awesome being
joining us. It's kind of surprising to me that it's been this long, and we've never had you on as a guest.
Right?
So,
It's usually because I'm doing something on recording nights.
so if people want to find you online, you have your YouTube channel, you have your socials. Share with people where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the site currently known as YouTube, you can find me on Nive's Nerd Corner. You can also find me on the site formerly known as Twitter, currently known as X, as Nive the Nerd. And apparently I have a Facebook. So find me on Nive Nerd Corner. Last name, all Nerd Corner. On the Facebook, I never post there, so don't expect me to respond.
You can find me.
You
That's
can
about
find
it.
me. I won't be there.
And if you liked what you heard, you can follow our channel on YouTube. You can subscribe on the podcasting platform of your choice. You can find me on the website formerly known as Twitter at Citizens of Lorcana. We also have a Discord. Apparently in the past, I was including a link that expired after 7 days. I changed that, so in the description of this video, I will include a link that you can click and join no matter when you're listening to this message. And James, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me everywhere online at Dan Regal, and coming up in just a few weeks, the new season of the SD Comic starts from the San Diego Comic-Con official blog, where we cover all things San Diego Comic-Con. So I think that's it. So thank you all for listening.
And we can find you in Atlanta pretty soon.
That's right. Next month, I'll be in Atlanta playing some games.
So you guys are going to have to schedule like a meetup to hang out with everybody. Jealous I can't be there. I'm hoping to be at the Las Vegas one.
I'm hoping to be there too. We shall see.
All right.
There's one in your hometown? How lucky.
Right.
Now you should move to Vegas.
I can move to anywhere.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.